Welcome to part 4 in the Advanced Projects Allocations by Progressus video series. In this video, we do a deeper dive into managing allocation rate hierarchies and allocation keys. We cover setting up new rates, deleting levels, and general concepts related to managing your rates. A few things to notate regarding the setup of allocation rates is especially related to hierarchies as follows. We can have multiple levels of hierarchy, and then we can put spaces between these hierarchies as well. We'll show you how to do that here. So let's assume that I want to remove this last level. First and foremost, we need to make sure there are no rates set up. So I need to delete this first, and then it will allow me to delete the line. Now let's say I wanted to set up additional rates. So I could theoretically put a rate in for line 20. That's possibly just cost type, and then line 30. It's good practice to set up spaces between these rates because you may have more layers that you want at a future date and you want to insert them between layers that already exist. If you have levels set up as 1, 2, 3 such as this, then you'll have to remove one of these layers and re-add it with a higher number later. It's just easier to set them up with spaces between your rate levels to begin with. That way, if you want to come in later and add a line 25 for a new rate type, you certainly can. So if I come out of here, back in, now I've successfully added a layer between layer 20 and level 30. I don't want to use these, so we'll just take these out at the moment. And then I want to discuss just concepts behind what we would typically do. So one of the things that you want to keep in mind is that you would generally set up more specific rates to more general rates. So for instance, if I wanted to have a rate for both project and task that would apply or look before we get to the task level, those should be set up prior to this. So you see project specifics rate and cost type is more specific than just a generic rate of a task or generic rate of a customer. So theoretically, when you're setting up rates, you could have customer specific rates that are, let's say, level 40. Let me delete it's not gonna, okay, so let me delete this line first. Nope, it won't let me until I remove the detail underneath it. So I have this customer rate. I'm going to remove that first. Now I can remove this customer level rate. Okay, so customer level 40. And I can come in here and I can say for this customer I have a rate of 0.11. And then let's say later that I want to set up a project and task specific rate. So if I don't have any space before the task, I'm going to have to remove that line before I can manage a new line. So I'm going to remove this generic level here for task 10. Now I can come here and delete this. Now I want to put in a generic level of 10 instead of 1 for task. Again, it's going to be looking at my task template list that I've set up. Yep. So now let's say I want to create a project and task specific rate list because I want that to take precedence over a specific task. So if I have level 9 that I want project and task, now I can come here and say, well, when it's project 2 and task 10110, I want to use 0.13. So now when I look at my setup, project and task would take preference over just the generic task. So now it's much more accurate that these rates would be more specific the lower levels you find, because these are usually very data specific rates you want to use. Whereas you move up through the hierarchy, these are more generic rates that are more like your standard rate card based on the customer, and then you wouldn't need to set it up by project unless you had an exception for a project related to a specific customer. Thank you for your time in reviewing our video on managing allocation hierarchies and Progressus Advanced Project Allocations. For more information on allocations, please be sure to view the other videos in the Allocations Training video series or the Allocations Help page noted here.